Hello, this is SJ Talks and Life coming back at you with another video. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. Please and thank you. The NAACP has issued um, a travel advisory for Florida. I'm going to go ahead and read this on here. The president of NAACP, Derek Johnson, issued a travel advisory for Florida. I'm going to go ahead and read this to you, and then I'm going to come back with my commentary. The NAACP President Derek Johnson on Monday said African Americans' lives are not valued in Florida, which is why the organization has issued a travel advisory in response to the state's education, immigration, and LGBTQ policies. We didn't end here overnight. It was because of the election, Johnson said CNN this morning, so that we have to prepare for the next election so we can get rid of him once and for all. This is othering that we have seen first by Trump, now by him, and it's not only un-American, it's dangerous, and we have the right size this landscape. The NAACP issued a formal travel advisory Saturday in response to what the group described as Governor Ron DeSantis' aggressive attempts to erase black history and restrict diversity, equality, and inclusion programs in Florida schools. Therefore, we are advising African Americans and others that if you travel to Florida, beware that your life is not valued and that we have a political landscape that could cause harm as we prepare for the 2024 elections. The right size, the political landscape in the state of Florida. The NAACP advisory comes months after Florida's decision to reject students' access to an AP course on African American studies. DeSantis has waged war to erase any traces of wokeness in Florida K through 12 and higher education institutions. Last week, DeSantis signed into law a bill that restricts colleges and universities in Florida from spending their cash on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs that earlier transformed and the traditionally liberal arts college, New College in Sarasota, into a conservative institution. The DeSantis administration did not immediately respond to a request for comment. When asked about the potential travel advisory in March, DeSantis called it a stunt. What a joke, DeSantis said in March. Yeah, we'll see how effective that is. It's ridiculous, and we're proud to be leading the nation in tourism. This is part of the reason why our country goes through all these. We get involved in these stupid fights. That is a stunt to try to do that. It's a pure stunt. That's what DeSantis is saying. Last month, Equality Florida issued a travel advisory in response to the laws that are hostile to the LGBTQ community, restrict access to reproductive health care, repeal gun safety laws, foment racial prejudice, and attack public education by banning books and censoring curriculums. And last week, the League of United American Citizens, the largest Hispanic and Latin American organization in the U.S., also issued a travel advisory. So it's not just the NAACP, it's also a Hispanic and Latin American organization as well. Warning against visiting Florida because it is said the state has become a dangerous and hostile environment for immigrants. The state boosts its number of visitors with approximately 137 million visitors in 2022, the largest number of visitors in the state's history, according to the tourism agency Visit Florida. I don't even know what the WACP is talking about. Donald, who is black, said on the Fox and Friends Monday, this is silly and it's dumb, it's political, it makes no sense. So the NAACP, as I read there, is issuing a travel advisory to black people. I know I did hear that they were pulling books from schools and stuff like that because they're trying to eliminate CRT out in the schools. They don't want the black children to be educated about our history in this country. So I did hear about that they were pulling books and everything out of the schools. But yeah, so black people. That's what I want to say. Why we why we're fighting each other and being racist towards each other. This is what's going on. This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. Now DeSantis swears up and down that it's not the case. But why did the Hispanic race do the same thing? See, this is something they did the same thing. So, um, yeah, I've heard a lot of incidents in Florida. I've heard that Florida is increasingly becoming more and more racist towards black people over the years. I've been hearing things over the years. And so I'm really not surprised at this. But yeah, yes. So that's something to think about, black people. I mean, while we're busy fighting each other and hating on each other and all this stuff, this is what's going on in this country. This is the kind of, yeah, they issued a travel advisory for black people to not even travel to Florida. Wow, that's deep. That's deep. Yep. We advise the African Americans others that if you travel to Florida, beware that your life is not valued. Well, our life is not valued in the whole United States. It's not just Florida. Our life is not valued anywhere, to be perfectly honest. Our life holds no value. I'm steady hearing about these black femicide cases. And thank God for YouTube. If it wasn't for YouTube, I wouldn't know about these cases because a lot of them don't make nationwide news. A lot of them. The one with the man put they found the baby in the alligator and he killed the mother or unalived the mother. Um, that was on nationwide. I think that was on. But most of the black femicide cases do not make nationwide news. They don't consider them newsworthy. You know what I mean? So, um, if it wasn't for YouTube, I wouldn't know about a lot of these cases. So, all over the United States, there's very little value that's placed on black lives. You know, so, but it's really must be really bad in Florida to the point to where they want to issue a travel advisory. Because I know they were pulling books from school. I heard the schools. I heard that because they don't want to teach African American history in the schools down there. That's what I'm saying, guys. They keep turning back the clock. They want to turn back the clock. They want to turn back the clock. This is the reason why we don't have time for this. We don't have time for all this hatred towards each other. We don't have time for all this gender war going on between black men and black women. We don't have time for this. This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. And it's going to be nationwide. This is what they're doing. We don't have time for all this hatred amongst each other. We need to unify. It's an emergency. We're in a state of emergency. The black community is in a state of emergency. We need to unify. We need to do it now. Because this is what they're doing. While we study hating on each other, this is what they're doing. I'm gonna bring all this to your attention, to you guys' attention. I don't know what it's gonna take to get through our people's heads. White supremacy is still out there. It's still out there. It hasn't went anywhere. Things ain't really changed all that much. Things have not really changed all. Times ain't really changed all that much. They really haven't. The only thing that's changed is the laws. We can go to the restaurant. We can drink out the same fountains. We can swim in the same pools. We can. Things are more integrated now. Things are more integrated. That's the only thing that changed. If I read to you some of these comments that white people be making about black people, and I go on AOL. Yes, I'm old school. I still have an AOL account. But they have different articles up there. It's my home page on my computer. They have different accounts and stuff, or different articles and things. Um, and you should read. I'm going to do a video one day just reading to you some of these comments on, like, on different blogs on Facebook, on American Online, and the comments that um, the white people be making. It's, you wouldn't believe it. It's, I'm gonna do a video one day reading to you these comments that they make towards black people, and there's still an extreme amount of racism in the United States towards black people. And if you don't think that, you're living under a rock. If you don't believe that, you are living under a rock. If you're a black person and you don't believe that, you are living under a rock. I was on that blog where they were talking about black women being, and black children, when black women giving childbirth are at an increased are most likely to die in childbirth. Our black infant mortality rate is higher. They had an article about that. I made a comment. I said, Black Lives Matter towards the end of the comment. Why did I say that? Ooh, them white folks been coming for me. They've been coming for me. They're still coming for me. I made that comment 1 or 2 weeks ago, and they're still coming for me. They are coming for me on that statement. They are coming for me. They coming for me. And they're talking about, what about white women's, yeah, just deflecting. The article was about black women dying in childbirth, the healthcare system being racist towards black women, and the black women not getting the proper. The the statistics speak for themselves. They're much higher than other races of women. That's what the article was about. But then they're coming in the comic section, deflecting and all this kind of stuff. And you should read. You should have read some of the comments. It's terrible. You guys, you gotta. There's still this United States. There's still an extreme amount of racist white people in this country. It is. If you get on social media and you read some of these blogs and you read what a lot of them are saying about us, the things that they're saying about us, it'll make you stop and think. So this is why it's really bad. All this hatred that we have towards one another, and all this hatred that we have towards each other. That's what makes it really, really bad. That's what makes it really tragic. I don't know if that's the word I want to use. Detrimental. It makes it really detrimental, and it makes it really bad that we're having all this hatred towards each other because white supremacy is still out there. Racists are still out there, and it is more than what you think it is. Don't be fooled by, you know, um, you know, more people, black people are getting in interracial relationships. That's well and good, and that, like I said, the laws have changed, and so we can integrate, uh, go to the same restaurants and things like that. Um, we can be in the same social spaces. We could be in the same social spaces as white people. Okay, don't be fooled by all that. The mentalities are still way back in the 1960s for a lot of them. Their mentalities are still way back in the 1960s. And racism takes on different forms. Stay tuned, I'm going to do another video talking about that. racism takes on different forms. It's not just about cross burnings, and that goes to the extreme end, burning churches down and all that. That goes to the extreme end. That's the extreme end of racism. But there's so many different levels of racism. Because a white person can be, I was looking at somebody on YouTube earlier, and they were saying that a white person can be with a black person and still be racist. Still be racist. I know that there's white women that date and marry black men, but they hate black women. They have a hatred towards. Yes, they're out there, and the black men are so consumed by their resentment and bitterness and hatred towards black women, they can't see it. But they're with the black men, but they hate the black women. Well, there's black women in his family. His mother is black. How can you hate black women? Yes. I'm not saying all of them, but some of them. Same with, there's some white men that's with black women that hate black men. Why in the world would you want to be with a white man that hates black men? I don't want to be with a white person that hates black people. So some of them are actually in interracial relationships with black people. Just because they're with a black person don't mean they're not racist. Now some white people, they like I told you about Brent the other day, they have general love and respect for black people. Yes, they do exist and they're out there. But then there's still, so that's what I said, don't be deceived, black people. Don't be deceived. And there's a lot of black people, they go to that other side of the fence. And then they get a wake-up call. Then they get that wake-up call. And they thought that everything was cool and they was fully accepted by the other side. And then they go over there and they get that wake-up call, and they were like Stacey Dash. Like Stacey Dash hooked up with that white man, and she was talking all this coon talk, as black people call it. She was talking all that coon talk and stuff, you know, got really heavy into the Republicans and the politics and all that stuff, kind of taking on the white liberal views, basically. And I hate to bring her up in a sense, because Stacey Dash is trying to change. She's trying to change. She's drawing a more close relationship with God, and she's trying to change. I'm not trying to bash her, because she is trying to make changes. So I'm not trying to bash her, but I'm just speaking the facts. She went to the other side. She thought that she was fully accepted on that side, took on their views and their beliefs. Then she got her wake-up call when she married the white man, and had an altercation. I'll just be nice and say had an altercation with the man and his kids, and she wound up being arrested and things of that nature, because they can do that. If it's domestic situations between white and black people, who you think they're going to take to jail? Who you think they're going to believe? And that's what happened in Stacey Dash's situation. She got her wake-up call. You know what the rest of it is. She got that wake-up call. And so is these black men that's getting to with these white women, and they're thinking that they're fully accepted on the other side, and then they get that wake-up call of them letting you know, in our eyes, you still you know what, in our eyes. So things haven't changed all that much. Some black people are walking around with blinders on. Some black people are living under a rock. They're in denial. Things ain't changed all that much. Why you so busy? Why we so busy? Why black men so busy hating on black women? Why black women so busy hating on black men? They still hating on us. Make it make sense. So we need to go back to that mentality that we had in the before the 1970s of unification, black love, sticking together. We need to go back to that mindset. Because it's going to get real out here, honey. It's going to get real out here. Satan turning up that heat because he know his time is short. It's about to get real out here, black people. And if we do not unify, it's going to be bad. We got to stop all this hatred towards each other. Because while we hating on each other, like I said, they still hating on us. White supremacy hasn't went anywhere. And this is living proof right here in Florida. They're trying to do that all over. Trying to eliminate CRT in the schools. They're doing that all over. That speaks volumes. They're turning back the clock. They're trying to turn back the clock. So they stay in power. Wake up, black people. Wake up. Wake up. Stop all this hatred. Stop it. We need to stop all this hatred amongst each other. We need to stop it. And we need to stop it now. Bottom line. Bottom line. So hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Yeah, while we hating on each other, this is what's going on. Okay? Open up your eyes, black people. Open up your eyes. Okay. Like, subscribe, and share. Until the next video, be blessed.